On this episode of Two Dudes, One Cart, John and I sit down and talk about the wasted management. Have they done enough? Slow play on the PGA Tour, fast play on the LPGA Tour. So sit back, relax, and enjoy this episode of Two Dudes, One Cart. All right, everybody. The boys are back together again. John, how you doing this evening, bud?
Oh, just wonderful, buddy. Just ready for some warmer weather.
Oh, God, I'm praying every day, man. It's like, hey, we had like 70 degrees the other day, and oh, let's get some snow tonight and tomorrow. Wow, it's fucking great.
Yeah,
But
it's tough to stay motivated, that's for sure.
yeah, it is what it is. We got some boys out there and a couple guys out in Vegas, and they're experiencing a wonderful 39 degrees and high winds at Paiute. Sound familiar, John?
Yeah, it does.
Well, let's kick this off a little bit tonight with the wasted management.
Yeah.
John, do you think that alcohol sales should be limited at the waste management?
I mean, just like you would at any other event, right? If you see somebody that's intoxicated, probably shouldn't serve them anymore. But
Well, let's look at now they haven't released numbers for 2025 yet, our most recent waste management obviously. But let's go through some facts here. It's the best attended tournament in the game with roughly 700,000 going through the turnstiles, and they've generated over 200 million in donations over the 88 years that this tournament's been going since it was, originally the Phoenix Open.
yeah,
La- Last year they had 54 arrests, 300 people were escorted out, and they had two semi-brawls. So like I said, they haven't. You can look at social media. There's several
yeah.
different things have happened and arrests have happened, but they haven't given a total number of what has occurred this year. But what they did do this year, they had breathalyzers outside the gates, just in case you didn't know what your levels were. They would tell you. You could take a breathalyzer. They had a specialized DUI task force. They had a you throw, you go policy for people that are throwing drinks. They've added an extra entrance and exit, wider walkways, more congregation areas. They raised the ticket prices. They added more concessions and less congested areas. They added 1,100 feet of bridges to protect players. They have no more of the any day tickets. And with every ticket purchase, because most of them went digital this year, that they had a code of conduct with your ticket purchase.
Yeah, who's reading that?
Well, and you got initial sign off, whatever.
Yeah.
I thought the more concessions was was nice, but I get what they were saying that, if they move people out, they don't put people in such a congested area, less things can happen.
Yeah. Spread everybody out so you're not on top of each other.
Right, but what do you think? I mean, really, I mean, I know last year was bad, but let's take into account they had a hell of a delay. They had whatever, an inch of rain,
Yep.
which made matters worse because people were sliding down the hills, and
Yeah. I
and I
remember
mean,
that. The belly flopping and all that stuff.
well, but it extended the drinking hours, if you will.
Yeah.
But what do you think? Do you think it's just, hey, they put more people obviously around, more police, more people walking through and trying to keep things in hand, but I don't think anybody wants to change the framework whatsoever of how that's run because it's the people's open basically.
Yeah. I mean that I think they probably did a pretty good job this year. I didn't see too many crazy things on Twitter or Instagram this year about it. I mean, there was some occasional fights, but I think you'll have that at any place where you have alcohol. I mean, if you look at any of the sporting events, there always seems to be a fight breaking out in the stands. So like, but limiting like what you can purchase, I always have a problem with people telling me what I can and cannot do. Even though if it helps or hurts me either way, it's just like I have a hard time. use common sense. Somebody that seems inebriated, don't sell them a drink, and don't, like you'll have other people saying, "Well, they could have a friends buy them a drink." Well, that's why you limit everybody to two alcoholic beverages per trip to the concession stand.
Yeah, and of course, I think they raised the price of the
Yeah,
beers.
I
Eh,
think $15 a beer now. I
Yeah,
heard
but it's just like anywhere else. Like, man, you're going there. You've
you're gonna
got the
spend it.
tickets. It's a trip. You're gonna have, how many do you go? Well, I mean, who really puts a cap on what they're going to do if they're out there having a good
Yeah,
time,
I mean,
honestly?
yeah. Most people are just gonna spend what they're gonna spend there because that's what's available to them. So, I mean,
Yeah, and it seemed better, but like I said, until they actually break down uh, what actually took place, who knows? Obviously, I think it was better because we had already been hearing about it a lot more if it wasn't, you know?
yeah, for sure. Yep. Yeah, I think the news around the extracurricular activities at the waste management was definitely lessened this year. So that was good to see. It was more just, you know, even after the hole in one, I didn't see anybody throwing anything.
Yeah, I mean, they threw cups out there and threw beer and stuff like that. I don't think you're ever going to get rid of that. That's kind of
No.
the,
But I didn't see like I mean, last year was just that whole area was caked with stuff.
oh, yeah. Well, I think our next hot topic right now in golf is really centered around slow play.
Yeah.
Um, we just had a recent the PGA Tour. The guys had a 5 hour round on the last group on Sunday, and then lo and behold, the LPGA Tour comes out and sets a standard 3 hours and 42 freaking minutes for the
Yeah.
ladies to get around the course in the last group of their final round.
Now, were they playing in twosome, threesomes, or what was their
I think they were playing in twosomes.
okay? So waste management, they were playing three, right? Thursday, Friday at least, I saw. Maybe even Saturday.
Right.
So maybe that has a little bit to do with it. But still, I mean, kudos to the LPGA players. I mean, that's moving.
Yeah, they were getting around there and they already um released a thing out to all the players about what penalties and how everything was going to go. Um, and I think that kind of set a tone. Um, but I was going to ask you your thoughts on these. I just kind of jotted down, possible things. Uh, Obviously, we talked about before, like on TGL and having the shot clock. They could use FedEx point penalties, um, strokes on the round, obviously,
Yeah.
or monetary. They could go money. What do you think out of any of those? You think any of those are realistic?
Yeah, I like the strokes, like a penalty being assessed. I don't like the monetary deal because I just don't think it'll move the needle enough. I don't think those guys will really care unless they're putting a $25,000 fine on them for slow play. I don't think those guys are going to care about a couple grand here or there. Really, for at least the top 100, won't care. The guys grinding, trying to maintain a card might have something to say about that differently. But I think for the most part, the top 100, okay, I'll take a fine if I want to take a little bit more time. Whereas if you hurt them on the strokes and the penalty, then it might make them think a little different because then it gets them out of a chance to win it. Especially if
Yeah,
it's a tight race.
I think that or the FedEx points, that's a
Yeah,
stinger.
that
That's a
hurts too.
that is a big time stinger if you think about it. If that knocks you down, say a couple positions,
Yep.
I mean that's rough. Those are basically not only they points, they could end up being strokes in the
Big
final.
time. Yep.
Yeah,
Big time.
so yeah, I'm with you. I kind of put money last because these guys have enough money. I mean, the only people you're going to hurt are the people that are already hurting already.
Yep.
Um, I think somewhere in there lies the answer. I don't think it's walking up going, "Hey, bud, you're on the clock." I don't
Yeah.
think that has any sting whatsoever. Um, I think I kind of lean more towards uh, shot clock and FedEx point penalties, honestly, because I think
Yeah.
strokes, yeah, I get it. No, and I think that would be a huge story um, if somebody got penalized two strokes and lost by one or lost by three or two or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's going to be a major story. I think FedEx points is just a punch to the stomach. And I think that one has the most smoke to it, I think.
Yeah, I didn't even think about the FedEx points, but that would be a good one to do maybe as a second tier
Right.
punishment.
Yeah, I think that has the most bite.
Oh, for sure.
Because I just don't think and looking at it, I don't think you want to really do strokes. I think they will. Um, but man, you really hate to see that cost somebody a tournament. That's like getting the refs involved in any other sport.
Yeah.
Some lame penalty on the last play that should have never been or whatever, some kind of touchy foul or
Yeah.
whatever. I think that's I don't know. To me that one's a hard one. I think FedEx points it sits with you. It's something you have to deal with all year.
Yeah. Year long.
Yeah, so I would go for that, and I don't know how the players would react to that. Maybe the players don't think that's a very big deal. But then your next problem is, like we said, those guys that are grinding, FedEx points probably aren't going to bother them too much.
Hmm.
So there's a line in there that they're going to have to figure out. But when I
Yeah.
saw that
What
come,
that is, we'll find out. We'll see. It'll be interesting to see once they put this in play and see what it if it does anything at all.
but to see those numbers put up by the LPGA,
Impressive.
I was like, boy, that's some that's bringing it. I, I think the other interesting thing we had is Lucas Glover coming out talking about banning aim point,
Yeah.
and then Colin Morikawa finding up. Well, if we ban aim point, we should ban long putters.
Yep.
What? I know me and you have had some questions about this. I don't find aim point taking that long. Do some guys take a little bit longer? Okay. Um,
Yep. They're
if you
probably
go
the ones that are going to be taking longer anyway.
right, but if you go back to um, Dustin Johnson when he was on the PGA Tour, and you got his brother doing aim point, you got Dustin over at the side looking at it, on the bottom side looking at it, and you think, I just don't think that some of that's taken any longer than something like that takes.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I guess I just haven't been involved enough with people that are actually doing it on a regular basis, like in our rounds.
Right.
I mean, for us, if I look at both sides of the putt from both sides of the hole, I don't know. I'm spending maybe 15 to 30 seconds.
Yeah, I mean I modify it. I don't use my hands, but I like to go up and I like to feel the ground under my feet.
Yep.
And if you've used aim point practicing and you understand the difference in the weight in your feet, you kind of get an idea of whether that's going to be a ball out, two balls out,
Yeah.
or what have you. You get an idea.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
I don't see it really being that. I mean, I think the people that are going to abuse it will always abuse it, whether it's on aim point or, Brian Harmon taking 20 practice swings for a 10-yard chip. They're just going to take their time like they always do and waggle and waggle and waggle and reset and waggle. So, I mean, I do find the broomstick putters to be an interesting topic.
me and you
Just
both.
from, I think they're locking in. I don't think they are. I think they're anchored a majority of the time. I mean, Zalatoris switched over that long putter there for a while. Uh, that left-handed Callaway golfer, the young kid,
Oh yeah, I'm spacing it, but I know you're
yeah,
talking about.
starts with a B. Uh, he does it, and I'm like, I just don't like the look of it. I don't like the way it
Oh,
is.
Oshte,
Yeah,
Oshke, yeah.
yeah. I mean, I have a buddy. I mean, Sam Foley uses it, and he puts decent, but I don't think it. is a game changer for him if he went to a regular putter.
Yeah, you know, the good thing about this conversation with our group, we really only offend like a couple people.
Yeah, yeah,
But I think that I could see that I could see that coming I could see that coming back. I mean,
yeah.
I don't know that it's the same thing with that arm lock. I mean, it's oh man, you're getting close. The way
Yeah,
that's
you're
locked
itching at
onto
it.
your arm and I don't know.
Yeah, you're definitely scratching. Should this be legal with an arm lock putter? It looks weird. I don't like the way that arm lock putters look. Probably why I've never used one. Um, I don't know.
I have tried one. I like the I like the idea, but not for why they use it. I like the idea to have that. I like the stability of it for the
Yeah,
most part. But when I've tried it, I'm like, oh, dude, I couldn't do this. You know,
yeah. It's a. I guess I've held a couple at Golf Galaxy or PGA Store, and like it's nice having that extra grip length above your hands, just almost as like a counterbalance type deal. But um, I could never like strap it up against my arm and use it.
no, not the way not the way, not in that
Not the
Bryson
way it's
mode.
intended. Yeah.
Yeah. But I do think that there's a possibility, but I that that could gain traction. Um, it's doubtful we'll hear anything over the next couple years because now so many people, they kind of you think about it, man. I mean, they kicked Keegan Bradley right in the
Oh yeah.
nuts when they changed that ruling. The original him and gosh dang it, I'm really gonna forget. Um,
Well, Adam Scott used it.
yeah, they really hurt a lot of people. I wouldn't say hurt. They came back
Yeah.
and played well, but
Yeah.
there's just I don't know. I don't know.
Kuchar was a big arm lock guy. I mean, he's got the long putter.
Yeah, but I thought that was hilarious. But Colin Morikawa hit that zinger in a press conference, man. I thought that was pretty funny.
Yeah.
He was like,
Yeah,
I got nothing against Lucas Glover, but if you're going to ban aim point, you might as well ban long putters. Like,
yep.
ding.
Yep. I mean, it's like how detailed do you want to get in these conversations, or could we just let people use whatever, equipment they seem that's going to, improve their game? And at what level do you start blocking stuff? I mean, it's like the golf rollback because they're getting too long. It's like, yes, the technology helped them with technology of the clubs and ball and the different materials, but I go, these guys are also probably the most athletic players that's ever been to the game compared to 20 years ago or even 10 years ago.
Exactly.
Yeah, they're more powerful. It's not just the club. I mean, they're increasing their club head speeds from probably 10, 15 years ago to like from like 110 to 115. Now some of these guys are, 120, 125 club head speed.
I I mean, we've talked about it before. I mean, yeah, it's going to decrease some yardage. It's really going to hurt uh, our side of the fence more than anything else.
Yeah.
But I think that they're going to find a way. I mean, it doesn't matter. They're going to find a way. And what are you going to keep? I mean, you're just going to keep changing over and over again until you're like, I know you can swing it at 120 miles an hour, but this ball's only going to go 260. You know what
Yeah.
I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. It's strange. I mean, on the TGL, Rory got caught talking to Colin, right? And he goes, "Ooh, you're using a commercial golf ball." And then Colin goes, "Oh, like keep your mouth quiet." So they're already using a different golf ball than us.
Right.
It's just, but at least it's similar enough where it feels like we're playing the same thing the pros play. I mean, there are some tour spec clubs out there.
You're
I
right.
don't know the difference between a tour spec club versus my club, but if I go out and get the new GT Titleist driver and Homo before he switched over was playing a GT, I would feel like it's pretty much the same thing. We might have different shaft, but like We're using the same club here.
Right. The other kind of hidden news, I don't know how many people caught on to it, but there is a rumor that we will be hearing maybe in the next quarter that the PGA and PIF that they have come to an agreement.
Yeah, it's the news on the street.
Um, they had a president involved with some conversations in that. Um, I don't think anybody cares, John. Do you?
I think everybody's over it. Let's just get back to golf, bring everybody together.
Yeah, I don't want to spend a lot of time on this because I'm like, it's news. We're kind of in the business of sharing that, but I think that I think it's fallen on deaf ears, to be
Yeah.
honest.
Let the boys play, I think, is the general consensus, at least in our Indiana Midwest group of people.
I did, however, find it pretty funny that Brandel Chambly, in his conversations with the president
Yep.
and everybody discussing this, that he found his way out of all his comments and is changing his stance on live golf.
Go figure.
I thought that was nice. But speaking of live golf, what was your take from the night golf on the recent live, the Rida event?
It was okay. I actually watched Thursday, Friday. Um, and I thought the video quality, the production was all good stuff. I mean, I think night golf is cool. Yes, it's cool to play. Did it do me any favors or increased excitement by them playing night golf? No, not really.
Right.
I mean, I just thought it was another event. I thought it was, yeah, it's cool that they're playing at night. Seeing them cut corners and stuff that they couldn't really see per se what was going on, but they played the course enough so they knew it. But I thought it was good. I mean, I would give it a 7 out of 10.
Yeah, I would say that I definitely applaud them uh, for doing something different.
Yeah, for sure.
Um, but obviously they took a shot in viewership, and I think that's due to it. It still was on at an odd time. Whatever they started at, whatever 10
At 4.
something.
Yeah, I mean, it felt early for us.
Well, it's hard because when you're Thursday, Friday, people are at work.
Yeah.
You'd have to, and I don't think the advertising of exactly where it was going to be on, that it was going to be on FS2
Yep.
and all that. I don't think there was enough of that.
I would say that's true.
I don't, but I'm not thinking, we've talked about it before. I just don't think that the expectation should be that you're going to get, um, PGA viewership when the PGA is diminishing as well. Um,
Yeah.
I just think I just think it takes a lot of time and a lot of money and a large investment over years before you get to where you're going to get.
Yeah. I mean, luckily I was using Fubu to stream it, right? So I could just search it. But like if you're just a normal person with cable, Xfinity or AT&T, I could see my dad not knowing where to find it,
Right.
right? Because he can't just go to his channel guide and he still scrolls through every single channel manually.
Right.
I could see that being cumbersome. For all the young people, they're probably still streaming it on their phone if they wanted to watch it, versus watching it on TV. So I think they do need to do a better job of getting the word out. Like, here's what channel it's going to be on, making sure that's crystal clear. Um, but then again, I didn't watch the Sunday Waste Management on the final day. I just every once in a while I'd go on, Google and just see who was leading. But after I saw, Thomas was basically what five strokes up
Right.
going in the back nine. I'm like, oh, all right, I'm done watching that.
Yeah, I did the exact same thing you did. I kind of just poked around. I probably watched more of Live than I did of the Waste Management. Just because I wanted to see how night golf was going to come across.
Yeah.
Um,
I
The
think they'll.
other thing that I think is interesting about Liv and what's coming right now is the fact that Brooks and Bryson, both their deals are pretty much up with Live Golf.
Hmm,
What happens if they don't sign back up?
who knows?
I mean, that's a huge blow. I don't see them not signing back up, just because
Yeah,
Bryson's really using that freedom. I think, as long as Brooks can get out and play in the majors, I mean, I don't know. I don't see.
yeah. I don't see. I mean, I don't see Bryson not signing back up because I think he's all in. He's got ownership of his team, right? I don't know if Brooks has ownership of his team or what his deal is with them, but he's also. I mean, I haven't seen anything on Brooks in a while.
No, and I don't think, and I think that's his thing. I think he just, he's just he's waiting for the big dances, man. I mean, that's just
Yeah,
that's just how that guy is. If you think
yeah,
about it, even when he was on the PGA Tour, you're like, he kind of ho hummed around on the regular tournaments, and then he just turned it up when he got to the majors. I mean, that's just
yeah.
who he is.
He just used those other tournament rounds as practice, pretty
Yeah,
much.
I mean, never looked like he was. I mean, he just doesn't. That's just who that guy is. Just wants the big games, and that's it. He doesn't. The other stuff is all practice, and I think that's how he really looks at it.
Yeah, I think you're right on that assumption.
What do you think of the Dustin Johnson making the splitting with TaylorMade?
Kind of glad for him.
I don't think it was that shocking.
No,
I mean, the more I see of Dustin Johnson, and I think that he's going to be a little bit more visible, somewhat, I would think, on social media. But you caught those comments in that 2v2, and he said if he's still playing golf at Phil's age, he did something wrong.
exactly. Yeah, he's ready to be on the ocean fishing all the time.
Yeah, he doesn't. It's like, and maybe he's almost done. I don't know. But
Mhm.
I didn't think it was that big a deal, but I understand why they would have split up because he really hasn't done much. Got all the talent in the freaking world, but it's like he's just hasn't done a lot.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's content with his finances now,
Yeah.
and I think he'll be one that goes to the whatever majors he can go to. We'll take those seriously. I think he's got money in his own team, so he's happy about that when they do good. But besides that, I mean, I don't. I mean, they were just released that YouTube golf with him and Phil, and he goes, "Yeah, I just started practicing like 6 weeks ago." So he took some serious time off where he wasn't doing anything.
Well, let me ask you this. What do you think the chances are of Dustin Johnson uh top 5 in a major this year?
Mm, that's tough. I would say, I would say he's got a. I think one of those he could get a top five.
Yeah, he's pretty good in the US Open
Yeah,
a lot of times. We know he has the talent from his when he that Ryder Cup. My God, he just scorched everybody.
yeah.
Um, I just you have to see something out of him, don't you? In like the next couple months.
You would think. I mean, it's hard to rule him out because I think he's one of those guys. Even if he doesn't practice a whole lot, he's real close to just having everything click.
Yeah, I mean, as long as his driving's good,
Yeah,
and I mean when his wedges are on, I mean, like I said, you saw it in Ryder Cup when that stuff's clicking.
yeah. He's
That's a
tough to
that's
beat.
a that's a tough guy to beat.
Yeah, I mean, I even on the Thursday Friday round for this live like he wasn't in it, but I saw some shots that he hit with, especially like his fairway woods going after those par fives. I'm like, oh, 280 out. Let's just smooth this like 5 wood or whatever he has in the bag. I'm
Nine
like,
wood probably.
yeah, I'm like, geez, oh Pete, man, it's just effortless power, it looks like.
I can't get behind it. I could see him top tenning. I just don't see him getting a top five. He would have to I'd have to see him put a monster win on the next live event or something.
Yeah.
But I could see top 10. Top five is
Be tough. I mean, the talent right now out there at these majors is going to be probably the hardest it's ever been. So, I mean, he
well,
would have to pull something out. I mean, he would just have to get in the zone and click.
I I think we might as well do it now, John. Who are you thinking about for the Masters? Or
That's a
you could say we need some more time. Maybe we get it. Maybe we hit it next month. But do you have
yeah. Let me
somebody in
think on
mind?
that one. I'll think about the Masters. It's going to be difficult. I want to say right now, early. I do want to say Jordan Spieth. He impressed me this week, even though he kind of faltered, but he's got some things there. I saw that putter working. I mean, he didn't have any bogeys up until the final day, which is nuts.
Yeah.
I mean, he can, I mean, made like 10, I think three 10-foot plus putts to save par, which reminds me of his golden days where he was just making, I mean, his putting's outstanding. That's why I fell in love with Cam Smith. You know, Cam Smith's putter is just so good if you get at the other parts of his game. But yeah, it's tough. He's so wiki wild off the tee at the Masters. I think it's going to hurt him.
I'm stuck somewhere in between um, Ludwig and
I didn't even think
Scotty.
about him. Yeah, I mean, you got to put Scheffler's going to be top 10. Aberg is going to be right there. Um,
If I saw something, actually, uh, I could go Bryson.
I could see Bryson doing something.
You could talk me. I could easily sling that way. I mean, if I saw something out of Brooks, Brooks is always a pick for me when it comes to majors, just because he
Yeah.
just he just turns up, dude. And it's if he's on,
Yeah.
it's man.
And I think Bryson's going to try to power the course again, which I think if he can do that with just a little bit more control off the tee, I think it'll be a lot easier of a course for him.
Yeah,
But
it's
then
it's a,
that's why Aberg's like right there too, because Aberg bombs the
it's tough. It's getting tougher and tougher because there does seem the parity. It does seem like they're getting a little bit tighter. Um, that brings
yeah.
us to the big question. What are Rory's chances of winning the Masters?
Oh god, about one in a million.
Yeah, I just can't. It doesn't that feel weird of a guy that's got that much talent that you can really like just feel like you can write him off and not worry about it.
Yeah, I mean Scott. I mean, obviously he's a great golfer, right? If I partner in the his skill minus my dislike for him, I think his Masters chance are slim. I think he'll get top 20. You know, he might
Oh,
even lead. He might even lead after the first couple days.
you know, I could see I look at it this way. He's going to be top 20 or he's going to miss the cut.
Yeah, I could see him missing the cut for sure.
And and I mean, I'm not really trying to take a shot at Rory. I just know that what I imagine we see is he comes out on fire day one, shoots a 64. Uh, Day two, he may shoot a 73.
Yeah,
Or he may make it to
or more.
Saturday and he
Yeah,
shoots a 74 or 75,
yeah,
and then he'll just go in there and shoot a 62 on Sunday to save face, and he'll be like, well, maybe next year, Rory.
yeah. It's kind of hard to say. I mean, because I mean, look at Justin Thomas hasn't been doing a whole lot. Wyndham Clark kind of fell off the lead there after the first day at the Open. Um, Sahith Tagala, he's kind of sporadic. Um, I mean, I would like to see Zalatoris back up in the top 10 at the Masters. I think he plays that course well. But far as that, as the PGA, it's like it's kind of a crapshoot.
Do you notice the one name that we just didn't even say?
Tiger Woods.
Xander Schauffele.
Oh yeah, I forgot about Xander. Xander, you never know.
Nobody. It's like you saw when at Valhalla when that dude is when he's feeling it
Yeah,
and he's swinging well. I mean, he was putting that ball on the sides of flags that nobody should be even hitting to. Like,
yeah,
and that's what you need at Augusta. You
yeah.
need that at
He's
Augusta.
and I don't know why I always forget about him. It's probably because he does a lot more time in the top 10 instead of winning tournaments.
I give you
Like
that.
Scheffler, it's easy to know because he wins so many. Like I think if he won more, I would definitely think he'd have a lot better chance. But I mean, his top 10 performance is freaking outstanding.
Well, and I think that what I like about Scotty Scheffler is the same thing I like about uh, Dustin Johnson as he progressed in his career, where it was just like, or even that like Brooks, it was like, uh,
Yeah.
he missed or he had something bad. He may smack his putter every once in a while,
Yeah.
but it's like
Typically, he keeps it together. I mean, he did slam his club into his golf bag this past tournament.
I know, but it's like the guy is, I mean, like he just knows he can come back.
Yeah. I mean, and he was coming back there for, I mean, Saturday and Sunday, he came alive a little bit and started climbing up again. I think he was still top 10, right? I think maybe tied for seventh or eighth. I forgot what it was, but I mean, he shanked one out of the bunker and just kind of looked down at his club like what I would do if I shanked one. Like, oh, was that me? Yep, it was. And then he got back to it. Like he really didn't let it bother him per se for the remaining holes. So
I
yeah,
tell you, if I could will somebody to win it, if there was some way I had control of that, I would give Daniel Berger the green jacket.
Berger would be a good person to win.
Dude, that guy, he just keep
I like Berger.
he just keeps coming back and he was looking good. I was watching the scores on the Waste Management and he was looking good until I was like, "Oh, well, too bad he's 7 back on 17 and Dietrich's on
Yeah,
18."
yeah, yeah. Yeah, he would be a good guy to win. I would root for him. He'd kind of be like an underdog story, I think, for the tournament.
Well, John, as we get ready to kind of close this out, I was going to ask you the overwhelming um, acceptance of YouTube golfers to me is astounding. I watched, Peter Finch go get a fitting. Now he's all playing all Titleist. Uh, Micah Morris, I mean, he's somewhat popular on YouTube.
Yeah,
I watched him get a full wedge fitting from Bob Vokey.
hmm. That would have been nice to see.
And I'm like, the way they have started to embrace this is pretty amazing. The way everybody's taken hold of it, and I don't know if that's because you're seeing, so much with Callaway and Bob
Yeah,
Does Sports and the other people and
yeah,
TaylorMade with Foreplay, and you got Tacoma
yeah,
everywhere. I don't know how much of that is playing into it, but to see. I mean, in what world do you live in that you think you're going to see somebody get a freaking wedge fitting from Bob Vokey?
yeah. Never. Yeah, I mean, they even had Briggs on at the Waste Management Open, in the press box.
I
So
know. It's and I know people are like, I don't know why you think that's such a big deal. I think it's massive
yeah,
what we've seen since 2024.
yeah,
Since PGA goes, oh hey, let's do the Creators Cup.
yeah,
And then and you got all these guys that are now on YouTube and all this stuff is generating. I, to me, it's baffling. And if somehow, like we've talked about before, if somehow that Grant Horvat and the Bryan brothers get on at Augusta to do their cut series,
yeah,
dude, to me that's hard. That just boggles my mind that something like that could occur.
yeah. Yeah, it's definitely the game has changed, right?
Well, but I mean, you have to be blind as a manufacturer or club builder or
Yeah.
anything to not see the popularity of YouTube golf, internet golf in general,
Yep.
whether that's through TikTok, Instagram, what have you.
Yeah, they're moving the needle. That's
There,
for sure.
that's, I mean, there's so much content that's on there because I think that they, like we've talked about before with the silly interviews they do walking from the tee box and stuff like that, the tour wants to start doing, and you've seen it, and you're like, nobody, that's not what we want.
Yeah.
We want that interaction. We want that information. We want the information that we don't know how to use, but we want
Yep.
to hear it. We want to
Exactly.
hear what Mickelson's saying about entering the turf and blah blah blah, so we can go out
Yeah.
there and hack it up. Like, yeah, I learned that from Phil, even though we have no clue on how to strike that ball like Phil. But
Yep.
that's the stuff. That's what we want to hear. We want to hear them jamming each other back and forth. That's the stuff we want to hear,
Yeah.
not well, Justin, how'd you think about that shot you hit on the last hole?
Yeah.
Like, we don't need to know. We saw the shot, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how they change that up going forward and how they make improvements of it because they're gonna, you know, it's hard for people to sit down for 4 or 5 hours watch a tournament, and if you can digest that in 30 to 45 minutes, I think more people are going to be apt to do that versus sit around there for the whole day or whole afternoon watching a
Well, yeah, and
tournament.
like we've said before, it's the fact that you can stop it, run to the store, go out to dinner, go do whatever,
Yep.
get ready for bed, and you're laying down in bed, go, oh man, I want to finish that video.
Yeah.
That's
That's
the best
reality
that's the best part about it.
for sure.
But when I saw Bob Vokey doing that today, when I watched that video, I was like, man, this is that's that you might as well be getting a putter fitting from Scotty Cameron.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He's sitting out there. But the knowledge, and you should really, if anybody, when you're listening, you should really go look at Micah Morris's channel and watch this just because of the knowledge and the things that Bob Vokey says to him. And when he hits the ball, I mean, when he's telling him these things are happening. I mean, he's like, oh no, with this grind, you'll be able to do this. And you literally it does exactly what Bob tells him it's going to do. It makes you, it's like, man, you didn't know how many things you could do when you're grinding wedges and the different stories he had on how he came up with those grinds. And it was pretty neat. It was pretty neat to see. So if you get a chance, you might as well just,
Yeah,
watch it and see what you think. But I thought it was pretty interesting.
for sure.
Well, John, we covered a lot there, man, on, kind of the, what's going on in golf. Uh, Anything else you want to touch on? We know we got our Mecklemore trip coming up. Um, Obviously, we're waiting for the weather to break. We're getting
Yeah.
lessons. We're chomping at the bit. You got anything you want to talk about?
Now just keep grinding and can't wait to get on here and do it again next week, buddy.
Yeah. Oh, hey, when do you guys kick back up with the don't you have isn't there a league tournament you got to go through?
Did the league tournament.
You already did it?
Yep. So
How'd you
we
guys
can
end up?
discuss that. We can discuss that next time. It'll be a good segue. We can go through the tournament and the year end stats.
There we go. We'll do it. Well, all right, everybody, we're gonna wrap it up. As always, we appreciate you guys for tuning in. Uh, Let us know your thoughts. Like, follow, subscribe. Hit us up for any information, anything you want to talk about, or anything you want to know. Hell, if you want to come on the show and
Yeah.
yuck it up with us hacks, we'd appreciate having you. So, John, as always, brother,
Yeah.
appreciate you.
Yep. Have a good one, Steve.
You too. Later.